What's going on YouTube? It's Gadgets Boy. Welcome to another video, and God, I love doing YouTube videos because tell you what, it gives me the kind of opportunity to see things that you guys probably don't get the privilege to see, and that's not a bragging thing. It's just I get to visit the Ministry of Defence building, for example, see what they're doing behind the scenes. Some I can bring to you, some I can't. And today I've just got back from the MOD building in London and working with the Department of Science and Technology lab or laboratory. And they showed us some of the stuff that they've been working on, some of the stuff that the scientists have been working on to make sure that the defense or the defense system here in the UK for the UK government is top notch. So they're bringing innovation, they're bringing science, they're bringing technology to the world of defense. And yeah, we got to see a few things, and three things stuck out to me, actually maybe four, but I'll talk about the main ones, probably in more detail than the other bits that I got to see as well. Some of them are quite old, they're not that new, but they're still in development, so they're quite experimental, they're not final. The stuff that they try out and see how they can improve it and what they can do before it becomes commercial. Maybe not commercial, maybe more something that they can actually use in the case that they need to defend the country. But yeah, let me place the camera down because my arm's aching, and I've just got back, got a bit of green tea, and we're gonna talk about it in a bit more detail and see what it's all about. Let's go. Right, so the Ministry of Defence building in London, Whitehall, Westminster, is not a building that you can just stroll into. It's a building where you need a privilege, some sort of access to get in there. So again, we got invited over to check out some of the latest stuff that they've been working on. So the first one that I saw was around autonomous vehicles. So in this sense, the vehicle itself and a boat. So the boat, for example, actually did a run recently through the channel all the way to France with no issues at all. So that's autonomous, and everything's powered by artificial intelligence. So the first one we're going to talk about is the Viking, which is a machine, like a robotic autonomous vehicle that's designed to be at the front line, to do that last mile for the soldiers and the front line. So for example, if they needed like extra ammunition, they needed food maybe, they can summon it. So using a terminal, maybe on their wrist or whatever, they can go, well, I want this here, I need extra ammunition, I need extra food, I need extra whatever, I need something medical assistant, whatever. They can send this right there straight away to pick up or to deliver things to them right in the front line, which is pretty cool. And now there's a debate about how this is going to work in the sense of the real world. So if they were to use it on the front line, is he going to be able to survive RPG, IUDs and stuff like that? Is he going to be able to survive these things? But again, this is quite experimental, so they're still working out how they're going to make this bulletproof. So it's battery powered, so you can imagine if that gets shot at, it's going to explode straight away. The one that you can see on screen right now is actually the model version of it, so it's not the full size. So this is just designed to scale, so we can sort of get an idea of what it is. So this thing can actually map his direction where he needs to go, even in areas where GPS is actually denied. So you can actually do that. It can work across all different kind of terrains, cross-country terrains. There's no remote control active here. It's just something that you summon. It knows where it needs to go. It uses camera stereo vision as well, which is pretty cool. It can carry up to 1/2 ton of equipment, of items on it, which is pretty cool. And it's a hybrid diesel electric system, so you can do 20 to 30 kilometers using electric drive alone, and it can do 250 kilometers on that diesel hybrid system. Again, that's a lot of distance that this thing can actually cover. Besides just using it in the army, you can use it for like humanitarian assistance. You can use it for disaster relief. So in situations where you don't have to worry about RPGs and that kind of stuff. And I actually like this kind of idea. I like when science and technology is being used for reasons like this, where it actually helps humanity in that sense. At the moment, this experimental version will cost around 200 grand to buy, but there's like, I think one of these in the whole world or so. I could be wrong, don't quote me on that. But the whole idea is once they've designed it, they're going to drive the cost down by making it more available to other people like US Army, UK Army, around the world. They can make it available, so that drives the cost down as well. Next is the MASS 13, which is something that's for protection for the Royal Navy future ships from potential threats. So this is very cool. It's 13 meters long, unmanned system. So there's no person at all on it. It's fully autonomous, and it operates as a waterborne drone to identify mines and other threats for ships on sea, which is pretty cool. I keep saying everything's pretty cool, but to me, these things are pretty cool, the way they work and the way they've been designed to actually work. This platform can be controlled remotely from a rig, and it has the ability to operate alongside a naval task force and collect intelligence-related enemy vessels, related to enemy vessels as well. So it can be out there just collecting information and sending data back as well. One thing that was mentioned as well when speaking to the guys there is that the actual boat itself, they're not designed to be offensive machines. They're not there to start chucking off missiles or like torpedoes or whatever. Although this sample here has got those torpedoes loaded on the back, but I think they're not designed to be like that. They're designed to be purely for defensive mechanism, to be off defensive mechanism for ships and stuff on sea. Next is what they envision the future soldier would look like and what they will be wearing and that kind of stuff. Because at the moment, what you have to worry about is the kit, what they wear, how comfortable it is, how easy is it to take on and off, how easy is it for them to attach electronics onto it without affecting what they do, but designed to actually enhance what the soldiers, what the military already do out there in the field. So this vision here is designed for 2020 to 2025. It has this integrated power and data system on the back. So before this, they have to like carry big power packs. They've tried different ways of having a single source of power. But this format that they've got now is this single pack of power cell, and all the cables are tucked away and streamlined into one flat connectors. So you get that cable that run all the way to the side, and they can use flat connectors to connect them to the system. So again, it just stops all that cable from just running around the body, that kind of stuff. It makes it easy for them to take on and off, to detach, easy to adjust. If you're getting a vehicle that's tight space, for example, you can easily adjust it without feeling uncomfortable, which is pretty cool. There's glasses on the helmet that's connected as well via a quick, again, flat connection. And also they look at our future for AR goggles, which I can't wait to see how that's actually going to work. It can tell you information around you, quick information as well, relayed to the soldiers. They can switch vision very quickly, all that kind of stuff. One thing they can also do with this system as well is the ports can be configured depending on what task you've been tasked to do. So if you're on the offensive, your connectivity and stuff might be totally different, configured differently to someone who's meant to be giving you instructions, or sniper might have a totally different configuration, for example, which is very forward thinking if you have to think about it that way. Also, the way they've used the cable instead of using, say, Wi-Fi or Bluetooth connectivity is because those connections are liable, that they're vulnerable to hacking, they're vulnerable to losing connectivity, they're vulnerable to people being able to spot locations, soldier locations. So using cables just makes it easier and reduces that risk for the soldier wearing it. What they've also done is worked with the Royal College of Arts for Textile Design to make sure things like the Velcro are quite silent. So you imagine if you need to be quiet, you don't want the Velcro to be the thing that gives off your position or you being at that location. So a lot of things like that gets designed so that each soldier that's wearing this feels very comfortable and everything makes sense technically. Lastly, this one was quite interesting to see in person. Again, everything is to scale, all experimental, but they're still testing them. They might become of use in the next few years or so, but we don't know that yet. And this one is a high energy laser beam system that can be attached to a ship or whatever. And it's called the Dragonfire Laser Directed Energy Weapon System. And with this, you've got kilowatts of high energy lasers that can get fired to any target. And this firing laser is cheaper than firing, say, missiles, for example. So using laser is cheaper at any point. As long as you got fuel in there, you can just fire it anywhere you wanted to fire it. And it's very, very precise because it's laser as well, compared to radar system where if you fire a bomb, for example, remotely, it will hit the area, but it doesn't mean that it will hit the actual target precisive, as it's not going to be as precise as using laser. On the device itself, you notice the target monitors right on the top right of the actual thing there. So that's where they use to target where they need to go. And it uses that millimeter wave IR camera as well. And then to the left, that big circle there is your high resolution tracker. And below that monitor is where the actual laser beam is to shoot a weapon to wherever you want to shoot it to. I find the whole thing fascinating because these are things that I see in movies or hear about or read about, but actually seeing a prototype or a scale of it in person was quite fascinating to see. And that shows you where science and technology is driving the defense in the UK, for example. And I'm all here for that, to see where that goes. So that's it for my visit to the MOD building. Thanks to the Defence Science and Technology Laboratory for bringing us over and checking out what they've been up to, where the science and technology is going for the defence of the country and all that kind of stuff. Guys, I know this content is not for everyone, so I appreciate that. But in the meantime, if you like it, let me know as well in the comments below if you have any questions as well. And if you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe, hit that bell notification as well, so you'll be one of the first people to know every time there's a video on this channel. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.